Chelsea 3, AC Milan 0. Hello, my name is Harry and welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. Listen, fuck it, what can I say? We've actually done it. We've actually done it. A first clean sheet since the opening game of the season. Potter's men have done it. And quite possibly what on paper should have been the most difficult game of the group stages so far, apart from maybe playing when we play at the San Siro. Of course, losing to Dinamo Zagreb on the opening game of the season, a draw in Potter's first game of the season against Salzburg, who are now top of the group for Group E. In terms of player ratings, that's why you're here. You're waiting to see what I'm going to say in terms of these players, and a little bit different to last episode because the ratings are on the screen straight from the get-go. But I've got to get you waiting for a little bit. We're just going to get straight into it. Listen, Kepa, not a bad game at all. Not a bad game whatsoever. A 6.5. I'm very lenient in terms of my ratings, by the way. You will come to learn. And no pity points, no, apart from maybe one today, but that's purely because they got their first goal of the season for their new club in a Chelsea shirt. But in terms of Kepa, obviously they came very close to scoring towards the end of the first half. He made a crucial save, but I had people coming back at me saying like it was a great save. But in my opinion, he palmed it straight into the feet of one of their players. The name escapes me, but then they blazed over the bar. We were very lucky to get away with that one. But besides that, again, Kepa really stating a claim for his place. And to me, a 6.5 is decent rating. That like a 10 takes a real good performance to get to that place. In defence, we seemed solid. We seemed a little bit better. And I say solid with a pinch of salt. We seemed more solid than we typically do. Again, a clean sheet for the first time since the opening game of the season takes some doing for a Chelsea side this season. Players still seem to be adapting to the new Graham Potter sort of system. Again, it was covered by BT Sport really, really early in their show today. That and it's well known, Graham Potter's formations, his team lineups. You're never really sure what's going to come. And today, it's a little bit of a surprise. Of course, Jorginho was out injured, so Ruben Loftus-Cheek shouldn't have been too much of a surprise. But in terms of defence, listen, a 7.5, they're all relatively around the same rating because we got a clean sheet. They all did their bit, some more than others. Fofana, for me, literally got his first goal. It was a scrappy one, but a goal nonetheless. And it was good to see. Obviously, I was ashamed to see him go off injured. Hopefully, that's not too long for him on the sidelines. But yeah, just again, a better performance than a couple of games, of course, gave away. Maybe could have done better with the Edouard goal in the game against Crystal Palace. But still, showing signs of improvement for sure. Thiago Silva, a 7. Again, one of those players that you just, even on their bad days, and today certainly wasn't one of those, he's just a 7. He's just a 7 on a regular basis, if not more, when he is at his peak. So, I feel like that's fair. Thiago Silva, just nothing really bad to complain about, especially last game. Again, we won't go into it, but I think we got away with one. Koulibaly, a 6.5 for me. I feel like very much the weak link out of the three in defence today. Certainly not a bad performance, but again, compared to Thiago Silva, he was just clinically on form these days, and Fofana, who gets a goal on his first goal for Chelsea. It's a good day for him, and a good day for the defence all round. Again, a 6.5 is not a bad rating. Anything less than a 6 is a bad rating for me. But again, we're not just because we've won a game, I'm not giving everyone 8s and 9s and 10s and all that sort of stuff. In the midfield, of course, we go to Mr. Mateo Kovacic. Something doesn't seem right with him at the moment since he's come back from his injury. Regardless, he still seems solid enough, but I feel like today he was certainly the weak link in the middle of the play. He gets a 6.5. Again, not a terrible performance, but you could even argue a 6 for him. I'm sure many would argue maybe a 7 for him, but again, it's subjective, isn't it? None of this really matters what I say. But still, I feel like Kovacic was probably the weak link, and I feel like, that said, Loftus-Cheek, a 7.5. I feel, honestly, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, solid in the middle of the field. His distribution was good. Just really not that much to complain in terms of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. There's plenty of people who have plenty to say about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. There's plenty of people that have plenty to say about all sorts of players. Whether that's Chilwell, whether that's Mount, whether that's, Sterling's got some people coming after him as well. We'll get into him a little bit later. But yeah, Kovacic, 6.5. I feel like Loftus-Cheek was noticeably better than Kovacic in today's game. Moving on, Chilwell, for me, a 7. I feel like you could easily argue a 6.5 for him, but again, he just was a good addition to the squad today, and people are arguing, of course, that Cucurella should be starting. He didn't, and Chilwell did the bits for his side of the field today. I kind of want to leave him till last, the next person, but still. And also, I just want to mention Loftus-Cheek, an assist for him. So, we'll move to the front three before we... I kind of made it obvious who my man of the match is, and I'm sure he's the man of the match of every single other person. Mason Mount, I'll give him a 7. And that's more so because I'm almost feeling sorry for him at this point. I feel really sorry for him. Listen, he had a goal disallowed. He could have easily had an assist today if Sterling had just had a shot at least. We know what Sterling's capable of in front of goal. I feel like he genuinely prevented Mason Mount from getting an assist, at least one number on his GA this season. You can see the disappointment, the almost embarrassment you can see that Mason Mount has at the moment when he plays. Last game against Crystal Palace was just constantly like hand in heads. I said that last time. Head in hands. And it's almost as though he can't believe how bad his form has been in this season. And for those of you that back him as much as you do, listen, I love Mason Mount. Same as Havertz, who he has people that are going after him all the time. And again, I'm critical of him. I'm critical of the people that I love the most at Chelsea Football Club, which is most of the players, but specific players in particular. Mason Mount, I'm not a fanboy of any player in particular. I'm not I don't have one specific player that I will back to the end of the earth. But I've been critical of Mason Mount, and I think it's fair dues with regards to that. And I feel like today he really showed improvement, is what I'm trying to say. He really showed that today was just a really, really unfortunate day. He was slipping, he was sliding all over the place. Some of his passes, albeit, he had a first-time shot that maybe he should have been a bit more composed. But again, with his form, it's hard to stay composed. Again, should definitely... Obviously, Aubameyang was offside with the initial move. Then Mount was offside with a great finish, let's say. It's a fantastic finish from him. He had exactly what he needed to do. He thought he'd scored. He thought he was up and running. But sadly, it's not to be. Aubameyang, a goal for him, of course. Albeit it seemed like it was out of nowhere. But then you look back on it and he knew exactly what was happening. The finish was there completely. Let me see. What have I gone for him? I've gone for a 7 for him as well. A goal for him is the right place, right time. That's what you want from a striker from Chelsea these days. And that's very, very hard to come by for the club. A player up front that knows where to be at the right time. You couldn't miss him. Great assist from REECE James once again. It seemed a little bit gifted to James in the sense of, Tomori should have done a lot better. Agent Tomori? I don't know. I'm just doing the ratings here. 6.5 for Sterling. I really feel like he could have done a bit better. There's something wrong with him today. He wasn't quite as pacey as he usually is. He didn't, you know, take the shot off as he normally would, either in a Man City shirt or, you know, he's scored several goals for Chelsea so far this season. Yeah, something not right today was slowing down moves more than he was helping. I think towards the end of the game, James was on a counter-attack and played in Sterling for the 1-2. He held it a bit long, and then James ended up getting absolutely crunched. So it's a bit of a dangerous one. But ultimately, of course, came away. Of course, the man himself. A goal, assist in this game. We won't be doing any substitute ratings for this particular one because I feel like no one really made too much of an impact. But and again, not a 10, but a 9 for Reece James. And you could argue he's got a 10 in his locker for this game. But just every single place you want him to be, he's there, and tracking back, defending, the power, the strength of Reece James. He's there when you need him. The passing, fantastic. The pace, sublime. The strength, just phenomenal. And I was saying earlier on during the stream for the watch along, and he's done it before, he'll do it again many times. It's a cheat code at this point. If you play Reece James in the position he scored today, I wouldn't even say 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10, he's scoring from that position. The power, the precision, that no keeper in the world is saving that shot. I think he did it against Juventus last season. That's the one that rings a bell. But he's going to do it way more times. He's done it a few more times, I'm sure, in that position. But again, you get Reece James in that position, he's going to score. It's as simple as that. But yeah, listen, those are my ratings. A little bit more of a different format for today, as you know, you had to wait for the ratings today. Hopefully some of you have stuck around all the way till here. But again, with that said, thank you so much for watching. This is the second edition of the player ratings show, or you know, videos for this season. They're going to be coming out every single game, so be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified of any future content coming up on Chelsea Fan TV. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Up the Chelsea, and peace.